Howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 464, your first look at free agency. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am your dashing host, Chris, and with me is the sunshine of my life, my good friend and co-host, Jeff, the Riz Risden. How you doing, brother?
Well, I'm feeling better now that you fluffed me up like that. That's nice, man.
How you like our
I
new
like
digs?
it.
How you like our new digs,
It's very cool. It's slick. I'm enjoying the new layout. I feel spacious. I feel good.
Ooh, I love the sound of that. Hey, McGregor, how you doing? Let's see. Today's show, we got a lot to cover. Today's a really big deal. We're going to talk about an overseas stop for the Lions in 2024. What? Calvin Johnson coming home?
Maybe.
What? Key offseason dates, player profile videos. We're going to talk about the defensive line coach changes. Combine prep. Are you ready for the NFL Combine? We'll get you there. Jalen Ramsey talk, who doesn't need that in their life. We'll have your first look at free agency, positional needs, and a whole lot more. We've got a great show lined up. Riz, are you ready to go, my man?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
I just got called a fluffer. I can't believe it. It's not the first time. All right, let's get into it.
Killing it with this Jalen Ramsey crap. Oh, my God.
First, I want
Killing
to
me.
thank... We'll get there. You can rant and rave in a minute. I want to thank Jim Ribley for the subscription. Thank you for subscribing to the show. We appreciate you very much. Is Jeff a Peeps man or a Jelly Bean man? We'll get to that. We've got that going on. If you would, please like and subscribe to the show. We appreciate you for doing that.
I will just preemptively answer that. I don't eat candy, so...
He's sweet enough. All right,
I am sweet enough. I do not have a sweet tooth. I have a dairy tooth.
We have a lot going on. You'll see some, the obviously the look and feel is already different. You'll see some other things change, and keep your eyes peeled during out the show. For those watching on the YouTube, it's definitely worth it. Of course, it's always worth it, right? So there's some good stuff there, good stuff going on with this, and there's other, as we do interviews and stuff, a lot of continuing improvement. That's what we do for you guys. We care about you guys. So we got that. So, subscribe, do those things to help us out. Let's get right into it. Are you ready for the first topic, Riz?
Okay. I am, because so I have a wireless mouse that I normally use, and I don't have it plugged in. I don't have the little dongle plugged in. And I'm wondering why my screen isn't expanding when I'm hitting on it, and I just realized that my dongle isn't in. So, yeah.
Well, we've got someone else who says my ex used to call lady parts peeps. But there you go. All right, first topic. Let's get into it. Lions are going to meet Kansas City in Deutschland. What? Are we playing? Are we going to Germany? What's the word? I have to say, this is
the Ramsey song is ripping through my head. Deutschland.
The first time I saw that Kansas City was going and that we were playing them, I put 2 and 2 together. This makes great sense on a number of fronts for the potential for the Lions to wind up playing Kansas City over there. The Bears, not so much, right? Not so much. They're not. It's not a guaranteed great show. You've got a team like the Lions who has a much better chance of putting on a good show in Germany than most of the NFC North against the Super Bowl winners. You want a good show. You don't want a blowout if you're the NFL, right? You want a team that can give a good run against the other team. The Lions are just that kind of team. Riz, are you going to go to Germany when I'm there for the Lions game?
Jawohl, mein Herr. I am there. So I actually wrote about this when they leaked out like which teams were going to be playing overseas. Myself and Charles Goodman, who is or Goldman, sorry, Chuck. He is the Chiefs Wire editor, and we got together right after they announced, like, okay, these are the teams that are playing in X locations, and he's like, dude, you ready to go to Germany? And this was over a month ago. So we both it's been on Chiefs Wire and Lions Wire for a long time. It apparently took Peter King trying to figure out where he might be traveling to put the 2 and 2 together and make it so the Lions are absolutely the most attractive candidate to go to Germany.
Absolutely.
Aside from the fact that it is probably their sexiest NFC game. You can make an argument that Green Bay is. Because Green Bay does have an international following, as much as we like to poo-poo them.
But
they do have a big fan base.
They have a big problem at quarterback. And there's a lot. I mean, we can talk about some of the talk going on there if you want. There's a whole lot of people saying that Green Bay is done with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is truly the big pull there. Jordan
Jordan Love is not.
I think back to the draft when they picked him. He's not that pull that Aaron Rodgers is.
He's not as good as Deshaun Kaiser, who was terrible. I will stand on that until I'm proven wrong. We do have one little feather in our cap too. Amon-Ra St. Brown is German
and speaks it very clearly.
Yes, he does.
Sprechen on the TV.
So that would not be at all surprising. The Lions they are owed an international date. They were going to play in London in 2020, the COVID year. I was set to go. USA Today was going to fit the bill for me because at that point I was still covering the Browns as well. And they were both playing the Jaguars in back-to-back weekends. So I'm like, I'm going to England for a week and a half. This is awesome. I get to watch 2 games. And then freaking COVID happened, and I got to stay at home and watch those games from my basement. I'm owed international travel.
Cry in your imitation English beer. Yeah, no, I think this is a good one.
What am I drinking tonight?
This is a good one for folks to kind of pencil in if you want to get a big trip in next year. I see the Lions as a real great opportunity for that. I mean, my wife and I are already planning the week and what we're going to do. I highly recommend the run from west to east if you can. Either drop in Munich early or first or last. Head all the way over to Vienna in Austria. Do the Alps tour and wind up in Lake Constance on the kind of
on the Swiss border, right?
Yeah, the Swiss border down there with Germany. It's a great resort spot, and there's so much in between to see and do historically. The mountains are gorgeous. The food is delicious. The people are awesome. It's a hell of a trip. We've done it. I wanted to take my son on it, but yeah, sorry, son, you're at college. You don't get to go. We're going again. So yeah, no, I'm excited. I would love to see the Lions make the run to
the game. It's in Frankfurt, is it not? Isn't that where they play the games?
I thought it was in Munich. That was last year. Was in Munich. I think it was in Munich again. München, my friend.
Okay, München. So, yeah.
All right, there you go. So we got that
going. I will go there, and I will dress as Matthias Jobs from the Scorpions all the time that I'm there. I will just, as you know, Chris, I am a massive Scorpions fan. I am a massive Scorpions fan, so I would love to go to their homeland and
do you know
how
I'm going to be more accepted than you in that outfit? I'm going to dress up as David Hasselhoff. Don't hassle the Hoff, my friend. Know your audience. All right. So there you go. Lions potential run into Germany.
We will find that out in early June or late May. Just keep in mind that the international games are typically taking place in October to early November, that window. Like week 6 to week 12.
We'll talk about that when we'll know. I have some dates on that actually. So we'll talk about that shortly and we'll get that. So Sweet. There we go. Let's go on to the next item. Calvin Johnson coming home. He's really excited. Mike Disner reached out, trying to make things happen. Calvin's given his stamp of approval on the Lions making the appropriate efforts to a man of his super, level of whateverness. I don't know, my friend. Riz, I'll let you react to this first. You've been... you're probably have a softer edge than I do on this one.
I'm tired of Calvin making it all about Calvin. And it never had to be the way it was. I am not someone who's overly sympathetic to a player who signs a contract and then cuts out extraordinarily early on it and then doesn't want any recompense directed his way for basically bailing on most of the contract. I'm not sympathetic to that position. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Yeah. Especially when the contract that he signed was, and we talked about this just before we went on the air, some $40 to $50 million over the market value that he should have gotten. He was still the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history until DeAndre Hopkins got his deal. I think it was 7 years later.
Which is such malpractice. That alone explains why you hire anybody, even Bob Quinn, to be your GM. That was an absolute I mean, just failure. And so you 30 to 40 million over the market value, right?
Right.
Forever.
He should have gotten between 75 and 85 million dollars, and they gave him 117 million.
And so in the course of the time that he played, he made more than the 1.6 million over market value that he's missing right now. And to me, again, I have a harder edge on this. I'm just so sick of the whining about I feel disrespect. You left the team, bro. You quit the team.
There are consequences to actions.
Like nobody got paid. And so this is the argument I would always make about paying players. Oh, it's all about the money. Is it? He got more than anybody and walked away from it. There's a lot of pieces to the whole world of players and so on.
Now, I will flip to the other side briefly and somewhat honestly.
Here. I've got Case on the other side.
Sorry. I will say the Lions did not handle it as appropriately or with the proper tone that they should have
100%,
at that time.
100%.
And if that enraged you as a fan, that you're right to feel that. They did not handle it well on their end either. They could have forgiven it. They could have looked the other way. But the amount of times that they have apologized and reached out to Calvin and tried to make it right and made him offers that have been made public, it's all out there.
Yeah.
Everything that has been extended to him, like numerous olive branches, and these aren't the olive branches where my pastor is hitting me for banging his daughter. This is where you know that story, don't you? We might have to diverge on that story some other time.
Did this happen at McDonald's?
Let's just say.
I'm loving it.
No, let's just say Palm Sunday was a little violent in my youth. When you date a minister's daughter, those palm reads can hurt. Yeah. Anyhow, stop. So Calvin was his recalcitrance has been upsetting. Let's put it that way.
So
and
I
hope that
agree
he's
with
ready
you.
to bury the hatchet. I hope that he's ready to move beyond it and understand that for the greater good of everybody and for Lions fans specifically. Look, he came back last year. They honored him for being in the Hall of Fame, and it was very well received.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he liked that. He went, he toured, he met everybody. He said it was the first time he'd ever been to Ford Field as a fan, and he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
He loved the reaction from the fans. And I think the fans honestly have helped smooth this over. Like, come on, Calvin, get with it, man.
So here's the
That's
deal.
In his ear all
here's
the time.
The deal. The team treated him badly, and they did it because it's right in line with the whole quote unquote Patriot way. You had a convergence of two stupid things, right? Or two unfortunate things. The whole kind of idea of being a Patriot and the Belichick way, and two guys who were imposters and weren't authentic and came in and tried to be Bill Belichick and played tough with a guy who they shouldn't have tried to play tough with because he was much loved by the fans and had given a lot and all that. Now, he had also taken a lot, and I can understand how you can draw a line in the sand as an organization against where he was, because the thing that he also did is when he quit, he didn't just screw you that year because you were counting on him. The dead cap hit carried over. It screwed you for years, and it was such a big screw job. You know, the whole idea where God, people get so taking sides on this. This is not what I'm saying, but they always say, "Well, hey, you signed the contract too, right?" But yeah, you signed it. You signed it. You know, you go do it, and if you don't get to be a whiner because you quit on everybody else and hosed everybody else on it. So yes, they treated it like crap. Yes, those people were idiots. Yes, those people are gone. And they don't represent the organization other than a brief period of time, which may have given you a little bit of butt pain, but get over it because it's over with, and you made way more money and have a lot more to earn in both your current business and kind of your ongoing ventures by being a friend of the team and taking that kind of PR role. It's going to be much more profitable to do that than be crying about it. So there you go. Ooh, why not let him have a weed store at Ford Field? You know what, Slug Peter? You may be onto something, my friend.
That's not the worst idea in the world.
Yeah.
It really isn't. I have not sampled his product. I'm not a pot guy. I'm just not. But I do know people that have talked to him and Rob Sims, and apparently it's quite delectable. So
yeah. No, they did not pay Barry. They said Mike says they did the same thing with Barry. They didn't take back money that they owed Barry. That's not what
They did not
what
take
ticked him
money
off,
back.
right? And
They just didn't pay him.
Yeah, and it was money he didn't deserve. It's the same. Calvin, he had to pay money back because he didn't earn it, right? And he had earned, like, he got the money he earned, and he got more than he earned. So that's it. We'll leave Calvin at that. More to come there, so we'll get going. Let's get.
I would love it if this story ends happily ever after.
Yeah,
and it seems like it's trending that way, and that's good.
You know, if he'd played that contract out, spent his the rest of his time here and been done, I think even though we paid him that much money, I think everybody would have walked away and said, you know what, we paid one of the greats, one of the all-time great salaries. I think we're okay with it, and that's it. Mm-hmm. I didn't win anything with it, but thanks for everything, right? I mean, frankly, him not being there hurt the team for more than just the dead cap year and the year he missed, right? I mean, it was a long-term piece. He was a big-time piece of the team that they had counted on and locked up strategically for a go-forward kind of plan.
To Bob Quinn's credit, he did replace Calvin fairly effectively with Golden Tate and Marvin Jones, and then Kenny Golladay for a brief time. Like, they weren't hurting at wide receiver. Not in the immediate aftermath they were, but and I think Tate was there in Calvin's last year, I want to say, 2015. But then Marvin came after that. Like obviously Marvin Jones, nobody else is Calvin Johnson. Marvin gave us some good years.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Loretto. These new uniforms better be fire. Oh God, yeah. We've had a little bit of a downtime with the current uniforms. All right, let's move on to the next one. As we head towards our talk about free agency, we got a couple things we got to cover here, and we're getting into one. This is one, as you know, in the offseason, we talk about the march through the offseason and what the key dates are and when things happen throughout the offseason. So we want to.
I have to make a quick announcement for all of you who are local. Zeeland Public Schools are closed again tomorrow.
There you go. Okay. That's all dated news, just so you know, Riz.
I can sleep in.
So we go over the offseason dates. We try to cover those things and help kind of walk our way through and use them as signposts as we work through the season. So February 21st already passed. Transition and franchise tag window opens. We'll see. We'll talk about some of those things as they go on. Probably nothing to do with the Lions in that space. February 28th through March 6th, the NFL Scouting Combine takes place in Indianapolis. We will talk about that shortly. We'll get you ready for that. Franchise tag and transition tag deadline, 4 p.m. on March 7th. That's really going to then define what your free agency looks like. Right now, there's guys, we got to get that guy who's going to be signed, tagged, whatever else.
There are reasons to pay attention to who gets tagged, too, specifically a quarterback in New York.
Yep.
Because it has a very big deal with Jared Goff's future.
Yes.
A very big deal. Yep. Baltimore, too, for that matter. But Baltimore's, who knows what's going on with Baltimore. That's going to be a fun one to talk about for the rest of the offseason until we get some resolution there.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to make any difference. I think Jared Goff's the guy.
I don't think he will with Jared Goff, but you better believe that Daniel Jones does and Derek Carr does. And
I don't think either one of them makes a difference on the Jared Goff calculus in Allen Park. I really don't. But we'll see. They'd
better. If not, we're really overpaying.
Okay. Bad. So as far as pay, yeah, and what that turns into, but
that's what it's all about is the pay, not availability.
But here's one of the things, like we talked about this a little bit in the Slack, and this is one of the things that I think it becomes a rhetorical device for people talking about the contracts because it doesn't have context. Oh my God, $40 million for a quarterback a year. It's just crazy. Who's going to pay that? Just so you know, if we sign Jared Goff at $45 million range next year, he will cost 17% of the salary cap, of next year's salary cap, or the 2023 salary cap, 17%. Which
in that ballpark. It depends on how it's structured and how much is guaranteed.
Hold on, just with me. So that's right in where Patrick Mahomes is right now. And just so people know, Matthew Stafford was 19% of the salary cap when we signed him. 2% more of the cap was eaten up by Matthew Stafford by a team that was potentially more needy and less productive on the offensive side of the ball. I think the more honest way to have these conversations, especially about the one guy who commands the most salary is as a percentage of the cap, because that then starts comparing apples to apples over the year. Because when you say 40 million, that's a new big zero number. That's an agent talking, right? I got 40 million. That they always want the big number. They want to hit the next zero number, right? The next 5 number, right? That's just what that is.
Yep.
But when you look at it in comparison to the cap, where does it really fit? And again, it's a rhetorical device. I think a lot of people use it as a way to talk about things and make things seem whatever, or make you be impactful. But I think if you want to be pretty honest and as straightforward about how big of an impact or how much it is, talk about it, but it's a percentage of cap overall. And then you have a real kind of concept of what the impact and the cost of that person truly is.
My counter to that would be, is Jared Goff as good as Patrick Mahomes in taking up that much money, a percentage of your cap?
That's the cost of a quarterback right now. I mean, they signed him to what, a 10-year deal when they got him, though? What if he retires on him like Calvin? Calvin's about right. No, I'm just joking. But they signed him to a 10-year deal. That's the cost of a quarterback. You're talking Daniel Jones.
When you're paying
Daniel Jones really going to be better than Jared Goff as a quarterback? I don't know.
Absolutely not. That's why Goff is going to demand more. That's why it's important to watch that.
We'll see.
You don't think that Jared Goff thinks he's better than Daniel Jones? You don't think the Lions think he's better than that?
If he makes $5 million more a year, if he makes $5 million or $8 million more a year, it's inconsequential in the impact of the cap versus the quality of the player.
I totally disagree with that. Totally disagree with that, because you need a better team around Jared Goff than you do around Patrick Mahomes to build a champion. You cannot tell me that you think that Patrick Mahomes, that Jared Goff could win as much as with those Chiefs as what Patrick Mahomes does.
I think Jared Goff could have gotten.
You cannot say that with a straight face, Chris. You can't do it.
I think if there was a decent defense on this team this year, and I looked at the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, we could have made the NFC Championship game this year with Jared Goff as the quarterback and this team this year. I think the defense was absolutely a shit show.
And he's making cheap money. Up that
he just happens to be because you picked up his, so he can take you there. And he's on that cheap money because he happens to be on an old contract.
Right. So if you got to pay him a new one, though, how much does that impact what you can build around him? Because then you're looking at, okay, I don't think you're grasping the concept that Jared Goff is not Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's not that good.
I know he's not. No, I absolutely know he's not.
But you're insinuating that he is by saying that he can win with the team that Mahomes does. Like, they've structured that team.
No, I said he can win with the team that's
so
here now.
Mahomes is the reason why they win.
I said he can win with the team we have now.
You're not going to win.
I said he can win with the team we have now. He did. He scored 35 points a game, which is actually Mahomes level scoring this year with that offense. I mean, he's absolutely performed with this team this year at 17% of your salary cap. 17%. If that's what you pay him, you have the ability to build the rest of the team and get the pieces around him you need. I don't care if it's $45 million. I don't care if it's $100 million and the salary cap makes it so that's only 17% of the cap. You can still win because you can do it.
You're crazy.
No,
you are crazy to think that.
I don't think
it cannot be done. It can't be. This is what the Ravens try to do with Joe Flacco, and that's why they dumped him and got Lamar Jackson instead. That math, it doesn't work unless you win. They came close. He won an MVP. I mean, that was pretty dang good. I would say
build a team around him.
Some of that's their GM's fault because they keep giving him tiny receivers. And
so there's a lot of other variables. We'll agree to that.
There are, but like when you are paying a quarterback that percentage, there is an expectation that quarterback is going to be the reason why you're winning. And if you're doing that with Jared Goff, I will say you're not going to win as much as you think you should. He has proven that. He had one solid season out of the last 4. I am not making that leap of faith. Sorry, I can't do it. I cannot do it.
I think that, and this is one of the arguments I think that makes a lot of sense. What is the amount of money you can spend on a quarterback in your cap? What's your cap? What's the top? Because when you start getting to 12, 13%, you might as well just say you're going to cycle rookies every time, every 4 years. You're going to get a new rookie. You're going to get a new rookie every 4 years, and you're going to hope that guy is going to be the one. And if that's your gamble, that's a hell of a wild game. That's a wild game if all you're going to do is roll the dice on rookies. But we can get to that. We'll talk to that. We'll see what goes on this year in the draft. We'll see where we go, and there's a lot of time left to talk.
Definitely pay attention to what money goes to the quarterbacks this offseason, though, because Jared Goff is not going to take less than any of that. And just remember, they have to pay Panay next season. They have to pay Amon-Ra next season. They got to pay some other guys coming up. If they want to get some free agents this offseason, that impacts, like, if he's taking that much more of the pie, like, that's that much less of the pie to build a great team around him. And the whole thing with Jared Goff is you've got to have a good team around him. Like, and
So you're
the
saying
Lions
you
are
got to build
building
a
one.
great team around somebody, but you can't build a great team around somebody because of the difference in costs. And I don't think that
Yes.
4% of the salary cap is going to be that big of a difference in building a great team around somebody.
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay.
Could not disagree more.
All right. All right, let's keep going. The new league year opens. Oh, sorry. The negotiating window, the legal tampering period opens on March 13th through 15th. Let's see. From there, we go to March 15th.
The illegal tampering period opens next week.
Yeah. The new league year opens and free agency begins at 4 p.m. on March 15th. Let's see. NFL league meetings, the 26th to the 29th. OTAs begin on the 17th of April. The 27th and 29th, the 2023 NFL draft in Kansas City, Missouri. We will, as always, have our draft show for you. Day 1, day 2, full coverage of the draft and particular attention to the Lions. And then you move on to the 5th-year option deadline for 2020 draft picks on May 1st. Rookie minicamp, the first.
That would be Jeff Okuda, by the way.
5 through 8, yep. May 12th through 15th is the second rookie minicamp. And mid-May, the NFL schedule release. So then we will know about whether we are traveling to Germany or not, and if we can argue in the plane all the way there is. Mid-July, we'll have the NFL franchise tag contract negotiation deadline, so they got to lock that out. We'll get kicked out. That'll be the way to go.
As you know, I am an instant sleeper on the plane. Like, they take off, I'm out. Like, I do that in the car too. If I'm not driving, if I'm a passenger, I'm asleep. That's just the way I am.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. Key off-season dates to look forward to as we move forward with the season or the off-season here, and each one of those in its own way has an impact on the Lions, including, like we talked about, transition tag, franchise tag. Those have clear effect on signing free agents and all the things in that space. So please keep your don't think that they don't affect us if we're not signing a franchise tag player. Other people will. And then they'll negotiate something with them and wind up with them on the team, or they'll just keep them tagged and pay all that money that they wind up paying for that person. But that person is no longer a free agent. So a lot of the people we're going to be talking, I don't want to say a lot of people, but potentially people we talk about in the next 3 weeks as we push on the free agency stuff here, may disappear. And that's just the nature of how this works. And it's always someone that you're really, really excited about that goes away every year, the free agency pool. All right, let's go on. All right,
so the way of the world.
There's been some great player profile videos rolling out the last week, with more to come. Scott Bischoff has been putting some great stuff together. I know you've been watching them. Cover for me for a second. I
have been watching them. I watched with keen interest in the Bijan Robinson one that came out today.
Oh man!
And the comments in that were somewhat wild. So look, Bijan is a very, very talented player, and Scott definitely laid that out. But also, it's a fun discussion to have. I don't know, but I don't believe that the Lions are even interested in a second round running back, let alone a first round running back. But we'll see. We'll find out. We will certainly find out more next week when I'm down in Indianapolis for the Combine. And we get to talk to Brad and Dan formally, and we get to talk to everybody else informally. That's part of the fun of going. Yep. This is, and so I talked about this when I was on the Huge Show. By the way, I'm hosting the Huge Show this week. Other than today, I was out. I will be in with Eric Zane, who's a very, very fun and interesting co-host for me. Because we don't have a lot in common and we have a lot of fun with it. But we are in Thursday and Friday, so we are doing the Huge Show across Michigan. Please tune in. And thank you, Huge, for giving us the opportunity and for giving me a solo show on Monday, which was awesome. Appreciated that and appreciate everyone that listened. But one of the things that we talked about, and I just lost my place, fudge. What happens is this is the last dark week for those of us in the media, because none of us, and I'll speak for everybody in the Detroit media, none of us have seen Brad or Dan or Agnew or Brian Duker or or obviously we're not seeing Todd Wash anymore, Kelvin Shepard or Antoine Randall L. Like none of those guys have been even like private, like going out and talking to people. They're busy. We don't know where they're at right now. I mean, like metaphorically, like we would physically, we probably do, but we don't know where their mindset is at. We don't know what they're talking about, what they're thinking. We will learn those things next week. The other thing that happens in Indianapolis, to leak ahead a little bit in what we're doing, is agents are there, and agents love to talk because they want to know what you might know. And when you have some trust with those guys, it helps a lot.
Yeah, and they're working other angles besides, strict information.
There's
a
lot of
horse
a lot of push me, pull you, give and take.
Yeah. And one of the things I'll tell you, I mean, I'll give you just some kind of insight, and this was great. Sandman was spectacular this year at show running, grabbing people. I mean, just to give you a eyedropper of the quality and how good he was at grabbing people. We had Hooker. He got Hooker to come over and do the interview with us. And I know we had technical, we talked about it, but you know who was following and begging to get him after we were done? Tim 20 and Dave Burkett, both following and
they were standing literally right behind him,
waiting for him to finish. So when we
if you had the video that we had, you would have seen Tim and Dave's crotch right behind him. They were right there.
Yep, they were, and so Sandman was able to get him. Now I say that not to diminish anybody else, right? But Sandman did kill it there. But Dorsey was at the stadium, and Sandman was like, "Let me see what I can do." So he went to go break the ice with them. So he walked over to Dorsey. He's like, and his openers, I'm paraphrasing, but was, "Hey, I just want to tell you, I really love what you guys are doing with the team this year." Dorsey's response was, "Thanks, I'll tell Brad." And that was it. He turned back. It was the coldest shoulder you ever seen. Now you know Sandman. He's the nicest guy. You can't not just talk to him and hang out with him. He's like a
and he's got like the
bear, right? I mean,
he's got such an earnest face and demeanor to him too. He's not completely non-threatening.
Yeah. And Dorsey just was like, no, no. He would steal a Tootsie Pop from a 5-year-old to make sure that they didn't know anything about what he was thinking about anything. So it was. You
will not know how many licks did they get to the center, young man.
This is indicative of the insight people are going to have to what's really going on in the line. There was years ago, Riz had people, other reporters had people. If somebody says, I know from somebody in the building, I'm telling you as someone who talks to people in the building, and you, Riz, talk to people in the building, no one in the building knows what they're doing except probably, I'm going to say it's probably more than one hand, but not a lot more fingers than one hand of people that actually know what's going on, and they are locked tight. It is not coming out of Allen Park.
I can verify that because I have tried to have conversations with a couple of people and they're like, buzz off, dude. Or as one person said, we'll catch up in Indy at a certain venue where I have spoken and eaten with that person before. So,
no, not eating at the Red Garter. Please don't eat at the Red Garter.
I don't even know where that is. I have my spots in Indy. I'm in Indianapolis a crap ton more than I need to be.
It's just on the edge. It's southeast of Lucas Oil, about 4 or 5 blocks, and it's the
only okay. So in relation to the Slippery Noodle, I'm sure you know where the Slippery Noodle is.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably on the other side of the stadium, because I think that's where my hotel is this year. I stay at one of the IHG properties there because
that's your IHG guy.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I am an IHG guy. That was my first job out of college. Was managing a front desk at a Holiday Inn that no longer exists.
I'm a Bonvoy guy, unless I'm in Mobile.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wife is a Hilton Honors person, so we get it. We get it everywhere.
I'm all golded up, lifetime gold. All right. So there you go. Let's see the profile video. Scott's doing great work. Witherspoon,
they're great, man.
Devin Witherspoon coming out Friday. Please watch it. This is, look, if you want to talk about 6 and you want to know, I mean, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to say it. This is my current crush right now for the Lions at 6 in the draft is Devin Witherspoon. 110%. I love what this guy brings. I absolutely love. I see the fit. I see just Devin Witherspoon
he is so perfect for what the Lions want in an outside corner, except that he's probably 5'11 and a half and 185 pounds.
He's a little handsy.
And you would like that to be an inch taller and 15 pounds heavier.
But
dude,
as a team that ran the fourth most press man last year, he only allowed 1 yard in the entire year playing press. 1 yard.
One.
Think about that as far as fit. And
yard. Not one completion, 1 yard.
And he's a grit guy, right? He 110% fits the culture of this team. I really, really think, I mean, this is me. You guys know I can change. I had Hamilton early last year, right? And I fell out of love and moved on. But I really like Witherspoon. So anyway, all that being said, Friday we got a great Witherspoon video coming out from Scott. He's going to take a look at him. He's been doing some really strong work here. We've got Carter. We've got a couple other guys coming up here in as the week goes on and into next week. So don't miss those on this YouTube channel. Go ahead, bud.
They're great, and the fact that he keeps like slightly changing the location of where he's filming them in his palatial estate is pretty sweet too.
Yeah. Can Witherspoon add 15 more pounds of muscle? I don't think he can. I think 10 is probably tops. 10 is probably
that's probably
tops
pushing it. Honestly,
that's why
he is going to be smaller, but I will just say that if he is 5'11 and 186 pounds. One of those guys just got voted into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot in Darrelle Revis. That's the exact same size as Darrelle Revis. Don't tell me it can't work.
No. All right, so Lotus Channel, can you guys, we love you too, Jake. Can you explain what Brad Holmes means when he says he has his draft setup established this year? He finally has it established. Can you explain that? Yeah, he's talked about this. There's systems he's got in place, both like IT and processes. That he finally has in place. It's this year. We've talked about it a little bit in a couple of the previous shows. He's been working on that since he got here to get his systems in place, and they're finally here. He's also been through 2 years with these scouts and then knows them. This is his team now. Even though he didn't do a mass exodus replace of these guys, these are now his guys, right? These are Holmes guys, every single one of them. The ones that have come and gone, but it hasn't been a big turnover. This is his crew of people.
More than half of the scouting staff predates Brad Holmes' arrival.
Yeah. And so it kind of talks to decision making versus the talent they had at evaluating the players. I mean,
right.
Kind of.
They're much better trained for what Brad and his vision for the team is. I also think that Brad has a clearer vision for where the team needs to go with the draft, because and this was something that came up in the podcast topics of our Patreon Slack, which by the way is worth your money. It's $5. Get in there, do it. But it is a different mindset now. Now that the team is expected to be successful, you're drafting differently. You have your base core team established. Now you're fleshing that out rather than building it. And that is a different process. It does require a different scouting eye. You might be less inclined to take a risk now. Mm-hmm. You might be more inclined to say, that this player is like 90% sure that he's going to be an A- player. And this player, like, he's maybe like 85%. Like, you're probably going to hedge to the 90 now to be just a little bit safer, because if you miss now, it has more negative consequences that can hurt a team that's poised to be on the precipice of winning division titles, plural. And that's where the Lions are right now.
100%. So there's and one of the things we talked about in there was, is it harder now that you have that core? And I would say, if you were lucky, yes. But I think what we've seen in 2 years of drafting from Holmes, it's not that he hasn't made mistakes on Zerike, but there's been, he doesn't.
There's a few.
Yeah. But he's outplayed as far as percentage of hits the vast majority of GMs and what a good GM does in the NFL. He's done very, very well.
Yes.
I have to believe after 2 drafts, right? This is going to be a year where you really can, you have more than 2 points to draw a line, but this is going to be a year where you can really see what happens. Is it harder? In a way, a little, because you have, I'm just going to pick a guy off the top of my head, right? You have Malcolm Rodriguez. You don't need that linebacker anymore. So if that linebacker's up and you pick him, well, I know you play, you want to be best player available. That's kind of tough. You can get kind of forced into picks that maybe don't make your team like that much better. And I get that. The Lions aren't there yet. I believe that Brad has the ability, and with his system, right? I think that gives him, multiple. I hate to use that word, but it's multiples. When he comes up at a position, he's able to react to the board. Yeah, he's able to react to the board with what's best for the team.
I agree. Okay. I'm with you there.
All right. So all those words were all about Scott's great videos on the player profiles. Check them out. Like I said, Witherspoon.
Please check them out. They're awesome. He's like Scott. Scott's always been good. Scott's getting better with the delivery on these. He's having a lot more fun. He's more relaxed, which is great, because a relaxed Scott Bischoff, as I can tell you from going to a Metallica concert with him, is a great Scott Bischoff.
He's awesome. And we will start here very shortly doing our Sunday shows as well with free agency and draft talk as we come forward. So there's some good stuff coming there. All right, so moving on from the player profile videos, we have to talk about some other things going on in Detroit Lions land. Todd Wash departs. Is it time for dust? What's the next move for the Detroit Lions? This is one of those ones where, man, it is so dry, and somebody came through with the pledge ahead of time, because there's nobody really knows anything about what's going on here.
Nope. I have asked a couple of different people in the building, and the only thing that I got back was, I'll paraphrase, "Dude, I'm surprised." that was it. No word. So I have bugged a couple of people who might be next. I have bugged people outside the organization, national reporters who have some connections, who's coming. They do not know. Nobody knows. You can speculate, and my speculation is that they're going to make it an internal hire. What's his name? Cameron Lewis is their assistant defensive line coach. My thought right now is that he will get promoted to that. They have a quality control coach, and they have a WCF minority assistance coach, and those guys will get bubbled up. The other thought, and this actually came up with Eric Zane yesterday, Tuesday, when we did the show, was that Michael Brockers could retire and go into coaching. That solves the problem of having to cut him, because he's not playing for the Lions again, certainly not at his salary. And he was kind of a coach on the field, on the sidelines last year when he was active. So that makes some sense, but you're not going to make him your straight defensive line coach. He has zero experience. Like, you need somebody with some experience. Lewis has some. I think he's been with the Lions. He came with Dan. And before that, he was a defensive line coach at, I want to say it was Lamar University, which is an FCS school in East Texas. And he bounced around a few colleges, but he's not more than 32, 34 years old. So he's a young guy, and you would be taking a leap with that. But as far as like outside candidates, like, nobody has said a word of who might be coming, who might be interested. Like, I have bugged coaching agents. They're like, "Sorry, man, I legit don't know," and I believe them.
Here's a good question from Brandon. What do you think about Daryl Tapp coming on as the DL coach? From currently assistant DL coach with the 49ers, played at VT, played for the Lions for a couple of years. Yeah.
And one of my very, very first ever draft hits, by the way. I was a big Daryl Tapp guy in that. I think that was my first draft class that I ever evaluated. Like, I like that dude.
So here's a guy who's got a couple years in the NFL. He was before that. He was back at VT. He went to college there. He was back there doing some coaching as well. Here's a guy that potentially, I mean, he fits the mold of a player coming in as a coach. He's got some Detroit connections from playing here for a couple of years. Interesting guy. Again, not heard a lot
smart
about
guy.
him.
Smart guy off the field. I have not heard his name in connection with the Lions whatsoever, but it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, and it's
wouldn't-
not
I
out
wouldn't
of the
rule it out.
realm because we haven't heard a
Yeah.
whole lot of names. Kyle Vanden Bosch, I don't know if I could handle the whole defensive line wearing those red contacts. It might freak me out.
Kyle Vanden Bosch is a Jim Schwartz guy. If he's going anywhere, he's going to Cleveland with Schwartzy.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
And they might need him too.
And Schwartz might be camping in his driveway right now trying to recruit him. Remember that when he brought Vanden Bosch over? He was there like the night before, like camping in his driveway. It's crazy. Schwartz was a madman. He was. I loved him, man. He was great. Loved me some Jim.
I think his era would be more well received by the NFL as a whole now. That's why it bugs me that he hasn't ever gotten another job when the Adam Gases of the world and Mike McCarthy's of the world keep getting new jobs. Like, give Jim Schwartz a shot. Come on.
Yeah.
Real quick, on that front, Jim Caldwell said today, he did a press conference introduction with the Panthers, that he is no longer ever going to seek becoming a head coach again. He's happy being a senior offensive assistant with the Panthers. He will ride that out with Frank Reich. They love him in Charlotte because he is like an extra set of eyes for the offense. And Reich can be a little myopic at times. That was one of the knocks on him with both Philadelphia and Indianapolis, that he might get a little too in love with his own systems. And Caldwell can be a guy that can provide a little bit of negative feedback in a grandfatherly manner, as we all know he has.
Yeah.
So good luck to you, Jim Schwartz. By the way, I did not realize he's 68 years old. I didn't think he was that old.
He doesn't look it. Doesn't look it.
He doesn't. He looks very good for a man of that age.
Yeah. All right, so Todd Wash moves on. We are where we are, and nobody knows what's coming. Expect an announcement tomorrow.
I will say,
expect an announcement tomorrow. Now that we've been through this, right?
Yeah, seriously, they might be announcing it while we're doing this. I did talk to Mike Kay, who is a Panthers beat reporter for the Charlotte Observer, on Monday on the Huge Show, and I asked him why Todd Wash would make a lateral move, and I will paraphrase Mike here because I don't have the exact quote in front of me. But he said that basically his belief and the other people in Charlotte's belief is that Wash sees a clearer path to becoming defensive coordinator again, working with the Panthers, and specifically because their new defensive coordinator is Ejiro Evero, who was a finalist for a couple of different head coaching jobs this year and is expected to be a one and done in Charlotte.
Yep.
And that's more than the expectation is that Aaron Glenn would be leaving in Detroit. There has been speculation that Wash was told that he wasn't going to be Aaron Glenn's successor in Detroit if AG left. I don't know that. I suspect that's true, but I don't know that. I have not heard that from anyone inside the building. I can't refute it. I can't prove it. But I will say that what Mike told me makes sense because Ejiro Evero is going to be a hotter head coaching candidate next offseason, especially if Charlotte, and I always call them Charlotte, if Carolina has the year that their defense, they got a strong young defense. They got a good core there. Their offense is their problem. And he could get a job, and then Wash is the very natural successor to take over for him in Charlotte.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
So that's the story as I know it.
And it's interesting, the pipeline. It's funny where the pipelines are, right? But the pipeline, remember when it used to be the Jaguars to Detroit was the pipeline, and it was like, oh God, the miserable stink that
Can we stop, please?
Yeah.
Can we stop that?
And even the whole Patriots, to Lions, cast-offs to Lions, right? It's like, no. You want to be with the Patriots. You want to be the one that has the guy before the Patriots take him, unless it's Janelle Tavai, I guess. But that was other Patriots style mistakes. It's the weird kind of way those connections get built out, or they happen. And right now it's Carolina land, and it's better than it was when the Jaguars were the Jaguars. I mean, they have a pretty talented team overall. They need a quarterback desperately.
Good football team.
Yeah,
they won a playoff game this year.
Yep.
God bless them. It's where we got to be.
Yep. So there you go. Moving on, we'll figure out, like Riz said, probably they're announcing the new DL right now. If it is, let us know in the comments. Also in the comments, let us know what you think about the new look and feel. Spent a little bit of time on this in the last week and a half, and interested in what you all think about how the look is, if it feels modern and good and all that kind of stuff. So let us know in the comments. We appreciate it. And we'll move on to the next item. We'll get on to preparations for the NFL Scouting Combine. Oh, thanks, Riz. Riz, I heard somebody say that you might actually be going there. And I thought that they had roadblocks up across Western Michigan and Indiana border to prevent that from the last fireworks incident. But here we are. Evidently, you're going to the NFL Combine. Help us get ready.
There absolutely is a fireworks store at every single border crossing between Michigan and Indiana on the Indiana side. I've been over, so I've been on 94. I go down 31, which is about a mile that way. I turn left and I go straight south for 3 hours and I'm in Indy. It's great. I love the combine being in Indy. We got 2 more years of it there before they move it away from us, and I'm going to cherish those years. I am looking forward to being down there. I will be down Tuesday morning. We get, and I'll be there through Friday night. I have to leave Friday night. I have to go to Louisville with my daughter for volleyball. It works out well that she's like going through, so that's good. So I will be there for all of the coaching interviews and all but the very last group of the player interviews. And I believe the last group is a defensive back. So I'm kind of bent that I will miss that. And I will miss the on-field work of the quarterbacks and wide receivers and all that. But I literally learned nothing from that. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there for the interviews. We get Brad and Dan.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the exact time, but it won't be Tuesday. I can tell you that. All GMs and coaches will be there. There are, I think, 4 people that we went through the list today that won't be there. Brad and Dan are speaking. They are speaking back to back at the same podium. Thank you for doing that, by the way, NFL. That helps out a lot. When you do that, if you didn't used to, we would get Brad at 9 a.m. at podium 5, and then Dan at 11:45 at podium 8. Like, come on, yeah. So thank you to the NFL for that. So we'll be there for that. We get player podium interviews. We get official measurements. We get workout data, all that stuff. We do get a considerable amount of time talking to players, talking to agents, talking to coaches on and off the record. I related the story the other day. Chris, you know this. My first ever real interaction with Matt Patricia was waiting for an Uber or a cab outside the JW Marriott at 1 a.m. when he was waiting for the cab behind me. And he looked up at me and he knew my name. And I'm like, wow, I did not know you knew my name, because we'd never formally met. He knew that I covered the team. And I wound up having a pleasant, 5 to 8 minute conversation with him. Nothing about the team, just, getting to know him a little bit. And that was cool. And those sorts of things happen a lot. And then just going out and about, being out. Look, obviously it's everybody who's anybody in the NFL and NFL draft is there. Yes. And chances are you will run into them in one situation or another. I have a couple of meetings scheduled with a couple of different agents, one of whom is an agent for a current Lions free agent that is going to get some considerable interest elsewhere. And I will do my best to find out how much the Lions are trying to keep him. So that's one of my missions for next week. I will try to find out where the Lions are looking more specifically with people rather than just positions, because I think we have a pretty good idea of what positions they're looking at in both free agency and the draft, but we're going to be able to put names to those positions a lot better after next week than now. Right now, it would just be me speculating, just Chris speculating on names that make sense with no inside information. All these names that get thrown out, they're great. I couldn't tell you whether it's valid or not. I don't know. Not afraid to say I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will not cape to positions that I don't know, because that's when you get into trouble.
Really quick, I've got just from the comments, I've got a shout out for Brandon Kerr. There you go, buddy. So your comments for you. Let's see, radio for 1 year. Also, wow, this is interesting. Michigan, did you see what he said? Thank you for not having constant bells and whistles. Just
and you hit a bell and whistle. That's great.
I heard Michigan's losing power to a rate of 25,000 people an hour. Oh man. Okay. Good luck, everybody. Good luck.
That's not surprising. So right now, I'm looking out my window, and it is raining right now. It's 31 degrees, but it is definitely raining here in the Holland, Zealand area. Now, as I noticed earlier, they already called their schools off for tomorrow, so they're probably expecting this crap to freeze. And I'm not looking forward to driving into Grand Rapids to the radio studio tomorrow. I'll do it for y'all.
Beer worshiping cult. Technically didn't mention horns. There you go. All right. Yeah. So the NFL Combine, this is great. This is a great time. This is, what's funny about it. And we put the comment up earlier. JP said, Maddie P is cool. Coach Patricia sucks. That's the best, most succinct way to see it of everyone that I put, because that's our experience directly. And I will say the whole St. Jude thing that we did was inspired by by Maddie P, and going at the Combine and giving a check to Rich Eisen and then leaving, and Rich Eisen announcing it and saying he didn't want to stay, he didn't want to be on camera, he didn't want to take credit for it, he just wanted to give something. 100%. It was like, that was the thing that kind of hit me, and I was like, we got to do something as with fans, and we've got to do something for St. Jude, and that's like what kicked off the whole thing. And just so folks know, we've raised over $100,000 total for St. Jude since then. You all have taken and raised over $100,000 for St. Jude since then. So Maddie P is a cool guy. Coach Patricia sucks, but that's that. No,
I would totally agree with that. That's a very good way to put it. And most people who've met him outside of a football context like Matt Patricia, but the football coach, dude's awful, and he might now be the new defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. That would be fun.
Yeah,
that's what I get to write about as soon as we're off the air here, Chris.
Cool. So the Combine is obviously, it's all the work that these guys do. There's a couple things to talk about with the Combine, and I don't want to diminish it, right? But a lot of the stuff that's been going right now, and we talked to some of the guys, no one really wanted to go on the record about it at the Senior Bowl. There's something called getting into Combine shape, and guys are getting into shape for the Combine. Those guys that showed up at the Senior Bowl, a lot of them were preparing for the Combine and weren't necessarily at football shape. It's true every year. So it's just a thing. It happens. There's all kinds of great information you get from the Combine, but just know it's different than how they are as a football player. And that's why so much of the film and how they play is so important compared to just the stats at the Combine. The Combine is just another input as to these players' ability and who you're looking at. Don't get lost in some sexy numbers. Don't get too crazy because somebody all of a sudden was super fast. He could be fast, but is it in football shape? Is he fast? Probably, but not as fast as he was at the Combine. How did he play? Put those things together. Draw the lines. Don't take individual points that pop up and say, this is my guy. We have to go for him, because the GMs aren't, the scouts aren't. They're looking at the body of these guys' work. So there's that piece. There's all kinds of great stuff going on, and I do want to give a shout out to Run Rich Run, the whole thing that he does for St. Jude there. If you get a chance, throw a couple bucks his way if you can to donate, because that's a really, really cool thing. Anything for St. Jude is a good thing. That's going on. There's a lot of great stuff that goes on. The Combine is, from a fan and announcer kind of watching it on TV perspective, one of the most chill football experiences you could absolutely have. It is such a great and mellow way to enjoy the sport and getting ready for the draft and watching these things unfold without having like the stress of a game like unfolding and who you're rooting for. Enjoy it. Enjoy the Combine and take it for what it is. There's some great data you're going to get there, some great points, but just take it as an event and enjoy it.
Enjoy it on TV, because when you're there, like in Lucas Oil Field, it's incredibly boring. It's, first off, they don't turn the heat on, or at least they haven't turned the heat on in the past. So it's about 50 to 55 degrees in there while these dudes are working out and running around in their underwear. That's why you see so many people sleeping in the stands, because it's cold. None of the concessions are open. Like, it's not a fan-friendly environment. There's no hype man. There's no PA announcer other than just announcing, like, this person's running now. Okay. Yeah. It's very sterile. It's not at all an engaging event to be at. If you're a fan and you want to go, honestly, you're better off like sitting at one of the local sports bars, watching the coverage on TV, and then waiting for the crowd to arrive with you, where you might see some of these people.
Yeah.
That's by the way, that's how my friend Rishi, who he comes to our training camp party every year. Yeah. We once had dinner with Senior Bowl director Jim Nagy that way.
Yeah.
We ran into Jim Nagy,
yep.
and he's like, you guys want to dinner with me? Yeah, we do. let's go. That was those are the kind of experiences you can get there. They, by the way, have clamped down really hard on the autograph seeking people.
Yep.
And those people, I call them vultures. I don't mean that as despairingly as it sounds, but they really do linger around everywhere, and they're aggressively, like, hostile almost.
Yeah.
Trying to get these things. Like, first off, if you're an adult and you're building your value around getting an autograph from a stranger just for the fact that you can sell it, like, maybe find a different line of work. Maybe find a different way to value your life. That like it's one thing if you got an 8-year-old kid with you and he's a fan of the college. He's an Indiana fan and he wants to get the defensive lineman's autograph. Like, that's cool. That's fine. If you're just there, like, collecting autographs so you can go back to your store and sell them, or try to sell, even worse, try to sell them to a store to sell them,
yep.
like that, maybe find a different thing to do.
Yeah.
Just life lessons from the Riz there.
You reminded me, remember at Lad Peebles in Senior Bowl when there was no concessions? And so you talk about cold, right? You'd have sleet generally, or cold,
yes.
almost freezing rain, no concessions.
Wednesday of 2022 was awful.
Oh,
that was rough, dude. That was bad.
Yeah. I mean, well, that was at the new stadium. I mean, there was concessions there. I'm thinking back at Lad Peebles before they had, when it was just cold and rainy and you were stuck with whatever you brought, which is of course nothing because you're living in a hotel. I mean, Sandman rolled up. He's so great. He rolled up with frigging hot chocolate. It's like, oh, I haven't had hot chocolate in years, but I've never wanted more than now. It's so great. It was so awesome. I mean, it's such a step up from where it was, but I just think about exactly what you said, how crazy that is. Really quick, Andrew Robinson wants to know, Riz, is a cornerback a lock at pick 6? What other position could be in
Absolutely
play?
not.
Hard to see them go another direction. I'm hoping it's Witherspoon, but I don't think it's a lock. Go ahead, Riz.
I don't think it's lock. I think it will be a position that ends in back. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So the NFL Combine, it's a great time. It is awesome. Oh, darn it, I miss it. Who was it? It is great background TV. WMW2 said so. 100%.
It is.
0-16 team almost, or season almost broken. Yeah.
So
that was
just one little quick logistical view of how we typically watch the Combine. Our headquarters is not in Lucas Oil Field. We are in the Indiana Convention Center, which is across the street from it, in a massive ballroom. And all media is there. There, I believe, are 930 credentialed media this year.
Yep.
We are all in the same room, and we are all fighting for the same Wi-Fi. Sucks. But we are there watching what's going on big screens.
Yep.
Like, we're not typically in there. We are actually allowed to go into Lucas Oil Field again this year to watch the things. We haven't been allowed in there since 2019. I will go over for a couple of the workouts just to say that I've been there, but it's honestly easier and better to watch it with a group of people in the media room than it is being there live. We want to having debates about players. This is where you learn about especially when you sit with other writers and analysts from other specific teams. You get a much better idea of where those teams might be looking player-wise or position-wise than you do just from, again, sitting in the cold and trying to stay warm and trying to stay awake in Lucas Oil Field. And that's one of the areas where we get our info.
JP wants to know, do you think they'll make it a fan experience when it moves? I think absolutely they will, because the one
100%.
question is there money in doing that? Oh, yes, there is. Oh, absolutely they will. I'll also say I think the NFL is peaking right now. I think that it's up for a contraction here. I know it seems like a crazy call. I feel like Michael Burry trying to make a call on the housing market, but I really feel like, I mean, everything I'm seeing, it's oversaturated, and I hate it because I love the NFL, but it's it is what it is. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Let's get into we have the first look at free agency, and we want to start off with Jalen Ramsey talk, because it's one of the most important things in Riz's life right now. And he's really, really wanting to talk about how important Jalen Ramsey is to this team, and how, I mean, it's an automatic. He's here. Like, they're going to cut him and we're going to sign him for like $4 million a year. and we're going to sign him to like a 17-year contract, and he's going to coach. And what am I missing, Riz, on your whole thing that you said in Slack? I think that's got it covered, right?
Oh my God. I don't know whether to laugh, cry, or vomit. That's just.
Can we just say that he's not getting cut? Can we just start there?
He's absolutely not getting cut. They would lose $7 million this year. The only reason they would even conceive of moving on from him is so they can get more money. Cutting him gives them less money. It ain't gonna like. Okay, let's cut Jared Goff so we can draft a 5th round. Like that's essentially what you were asking the Rams to do. It's not going to happen. That's asinine. Anybody who suggests to you that the Rams would cut Jalen Ramsey, tell them to go lick an electric fence.
Don't whiz on the electric fence. My favorite game. Yeah, no, that's that's about
It's
it
so
in a nutshell.
asinine that people think this is going to happen. It really, honestly, like, how freaking stupid are you people that think this? Like, no, it's not going to happen. Now, could they trade him? No, those people don't deserve to listen to us. They're too dumb to listen to us. Go away. Go away. Listen to somebody else.
Bad business.
I don't want you listening to me. You haven't earned that right. Now, could they trade for him?
Oh,
conceivably. Yeah. Yes. They could conceivably trade Jalen Ramsey.
Soccer Wizard nails it, and a trade would be so much worse. There's your segue.
So here's the issue with the trade. The reason that you would trade for him is that you need the cornerback. And obviously Jalen Ramsey is the best proven cornerback that you can get in the market this offseason. So that makes sense. I get why people want him.
Just really quick, I think Riz is coming around to the idea. It comes up right now. Soccer Wizard is killing me. I'm sorry. Sorry, I hate to cut you off there, but that was just such a great comment.
So the problem is that you want to trade for him. The Rams need you to trade now before the draft.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the problem. That means that you're giving up this year's draft picks to get him. That means you, as the Lions, have to take on his entire salary. $25.4 million in a cap obligation. Now, some of that is prorated bonus that the Rams will eat, but you're looking at adding $21 million or so onto the Lions salary cap figure for 2023. How much cap room do the Lions have right now? About $17.1 million. I.e., you're going to have to make some cuts or renegotiate his contract, which is fine. He would expect that. But you're looking at Jalen Ramsey. He's not going to sign for his current contract before he renegotiated the first time is 5 years and $100 million. He ain't taking less than that. Sorry, he's not. So you're looking at over $20 million. You're going to have to pay him. Let's say he goes 3 years and $75 million, which I think is probably about what he would ask for. At least $50 million of that is going to be guaranteed. Otherwise, he's not signing it. And then why the bleep are you trading for him? Because he's not going to be here.
Yeah.
Then, to go back to what I was talking about and Chris and I were arguing about earlier, you're taking a significant portion of your team building fundage to a 30-year-old cornerback who's not the most mentally stable. Look, he's a great player. I will not disparage Jalen Ramsey in any way on the field. Off the field, he's not always been the easiest guy to get along with for teammates or coaches. Mm-hmm. He's not the easiest guy to coach. I don't suspect that would be an issue with Detroit, but you never know. And the other thing, so you're trading, you need as Detroit to trade draft assets in 2023 because you have 2 first-rounders and 2 second-rounders. The asking price for the Rams, and I bugged a couple of different Rams people about us, they will want a 1 and a 2 at minimum. At minimum.
Mm-hmm.
You've only got that this year, which means that you're giving that away, which means that you are, in fact, taking on the worst part of his contract. Now, if you can wait a year until after they're done drafting, like, oh, you want our first and second next year, okay, maybe we can work with that. and then we get a clean slate with him. Like, they're not doing that. That doesn't make any sense for the Rams standpoint, because that's a Rams team, I will tell you, that still thinks they're going to win the NFC next year. And Jalen Ramsey is a big part of that. So this whole so Jalen has done a great job of playing up the potential that he might be available, because much like Aaron Rodgers, much like several other players, he's an attention whore. And he likes this. He likes that everybody's talking about him. He likes that his name is on Micah Parsons' lips.
Hold on. We'll get to that. let me just really quick make the counterpoint to what you're saying about Jalen Ramsey.
The bullshit.
Sorry, there is no counterpoint. It is what it is, and just I mean, you can talk about it. It's fun. It's the offseason. You talk about all kinds of things, but I'd say find time to spend on something different, because that's not it. I want to get into Micah Parsons though, because look, the sexual assault. Okay, whatever. We'll let him go, but don't talk bad about Detroit. Don't come up talking shit about Detroit, man. He is now.
You can rub your junk on your teammates' asses if you want, but don't talk bad about Detroit.
He can and will be the target of shit talk for now on. He is, in my book, the epitome of just a douche nozzle. It's the nicest thing I can say. He is the target of anything. When I want to talk about stupid idiots who are uneducated fools and are dopey and make bad decisions, I'm trying to watch my language and be a nice guy here. Micah Parsons will be my example. So it may not fit, but just go with it, because right now I really he
is no longer on our Christmas card list, Chris.
That's how to put it. Yeah, absolutely. That BS about no one wants to come to Detroit, fucking right here, buddy, right there. Because a lot of people. I'm in Tampa. I would love to move back to Detroit, even though people are losing power like crazy. Detroit's a hell of a town. It's got very different special people than just about anywhere in the U.S. I've been. I'm telling you, I love that city. I grew up there. That might be a big piece of it, but I've been gone for almost 20 years now, and I would come back. I will come back eventually. I will at least have one house in Detroit. Hit that super chat button. Help make that a reality.
You're going to need a lot of them, buddy.
Got to start somewhere, right?
You do.
All right. So with that, also, we talk about the Slack chat. It's a great place to hang out. Great people. We make fun of Micah Parsons, all kinds of other stuff. You get there by going to patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. $5 a month will get you access. Also, if you just join as a member on the channel, send me a screenshot at chris@DetroitLionsPodcast.com, just so I can see it. YouTube does a really bad job of tracking that. We'll give you access to the Slack as well if you join as a member. And then in the chat, you'll see, like, Michael Edmark has the Slack potato, which you have to be in Slack to know the story behind the potato emoji. it's worth it.
Potato in a while. That's a good one. That needs to come back. I like it.
Good stuff. Join as a member on the channel, and you get access to the Slack chat as well, which is, I'm telling you, we have the magic potion for Intelligent Lions chat. 100%. I'm telling you, you will not find anything like this on the internet for any team. I haven't seen it. There's nothing like the community we have in the Slack. 100%. All right.
It's great. I love it.
Let's get into free agency positional needs. And that's where we want to talk about it right now with free agency this week. We've got about 3 weeks of coverage ahead of free agency coming up. And the first thing is to set the table about where the needs are for this team positionally. And we're going to start out in the offense. And for those who have been here for the entirety of the show, you're gonna find this a little different than what you might expect. The first position of potential need for the Lions is quarterback. Riz, I'll let you take the microphone on that.
100%. They have one quarterback on the roster. Like, you got to have three to just run a practice. Like, their number 3 guy last year was Steven Montez. He's now playing for, was he at Seattle? The Sea Dragons, maybe? In the XFL?
Yeah.
Somewhere up there. Somewhere in the XFL. So they need a veteran backup, probably a cheap one. And they need a rookie. And I absolutely expect both of those. I will phrase this appropriately.
I doubt it.
I will be flabbergasted if they don't draft a quarterback this year. I don't know when they will draft one, but I will be stunned if they do not draft one.
Fair.
and also sign one. And again, I know they have looked, and I put this in the Slack. I'll give you a little taste of it. I know they have investigated the quarterbacks in this specific draft class a whole lot more than they have in either of the last 2 seasons. I don't know how they feel specifically about individual quarterbacks. None of them. I don't.
Yeah.
Again, I hope to find that out next week. But I will just tell you the amount of legwork and the amount of resources that they have devoted to investigating the quarterbacks in this draft class is abnormal for an NFL team, even one that has an established starter. They are looking, folks. Don't mistake that.
Interesting.
Again, does it mean that they're going to take Anthony Richardson at 6? Does it mean they're taking Hendon Hook in their 2nd? Does it mean they're taking Jalen Hall in the 6th? I don't know.
No.
We'll find out together.
That is 100%. They need 2 quarterbacks. It's just where the team is, and it's what they have to do. I have to say, and this is the evolution that happens as you can. I watched AR-15. Sorry. I can only shorten it right now. Antonio, as Scott calls him.
Antonio, as Scott Bishop calls him.
I watched him. I watched him all season, and I was out on him. Based on what Scott has come up with, and he's made me rethink a little bit. He's made me evolve my thinking a little bit on Antonio Richardson. I think I haven't changed. I haven't said I want him at 6, right? We talked about him earlier. I said at 18, I can kind of see it. I feel it a little bit, right? That's okay. I still am not there with him on 6. It's not my pick.
Well,
but I will
just tell you.
I can see it, right? And I'm warming to it a little bit. He has, and this is what was pointed out, and I've went and seen this. He has some beyond the running and everything else. He has ability in the pocket. He's shown that some of the core talents exist and can be coached up. For all the things I saw that made me say absolutely not, because he's just not going to be able to throw the ball effectively. Some of the core talent actually is there, and I missed some of it. I've gone back and started looking. I'm like, oh, okay. Here's
Can I tell you what I saw just before we went on the air?
Sure.
He is now the odds-on favorite to be the number 1 overall pick.
That's just, well, okay. And let's just say it's the 22nd of February. We've got over 2 months until the draft, and that will
at this point last year. But so I get these emails from gambling people all the time, and they were quick to point this out. At this point last year, Kayvon Thibodeau was the number 1 odds pick to go number 1 overall. Yeah. Aiden Hutchinson was 3rd, by the way. He was 2nd, and we're happy that he went 2nd. So just keep an eye on it. Yeah. Ikem Ekwonu was the number 1 pick odds after the combine last year.
Yep.
So these things are very fluid, and honestly, it's because nobody really knows. So
yep.
So again, I'm gonna bet, and I will bet that Anthony Richardson is not on the board when the Lions get a chance to choose him. They will not get a chance to make that decision.
Yeah.
And I will also I will go a little step further. I will say that the Lions will get a chance to pass on Bryce Young, and I think they will.
Yeah.
My opinion. Don't know that, but my opinion is that they would pass on him.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, and one of the things that I think about in where he could fit in the growth, and I know a lot of people hate this, right? I still think the NFL is going this way. The NFL evolves and changes, and some wacky things happen. I think that the 2 quarterback situation is something that I think more teams are going to try before they don't. I don't know that it's going to work. I don't know that, but if you're watching and you want to grow a quarterback, what better situation than to have Anthony Richardson and Jared Goff? I mean, look, it's an obvious, oh yeah, Anthony's out there going to run the ball. Not necessarily, right? My guy's got an arm. Now, I know Jared Goff isn't running, I know that much, but then we have the offensive line that's going to protect him, and they're all there this year to do that. It's an interesting way to get snaps to a young guy you want to develop and start to see how is he going to perform, get him some experience on the field in some interesting and unique plays. And I'll be darned, is Ben Johnson a creative cat who would be ideal for putting packages like that together. So again, I'm not advocating for this. I just see how it could work. I'm warming to the idea. It's interesting, but I just don't. The other side of it is, I don't think you're a super serious team if you're trying to roll two quarterbacks. 100, and I think the Lions are a very, very serious team, and the playoffs are absolutely their minimum this year as far as achievement. And I don't think that they will believe that running that kind of I'll just call it a comedy show for now, because I don't have another way to describe it, is the way to get them there. Is that fair?
Yeah. I buy that. I follow that 100%. So that, but they will be looking at a free agent quarterback as well. I have heard mixed things about Nate Sudfeld and how he was received by the team. I don't know if he will be back. If it is, he will not make as much as Tim Boyle did last year. They have learned from that mistake.
Yep. Yeah, they tied up a lot of money in guys. And Boyle's such a nice guy. God, I mean, that's part. I mean, really I know they're not making those decisions.
He's so freaking terrible at football, though.
Yeah,
that's what I hate, is when a good dude is bad at football.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Jerry's so great about. He's such an awesome human being, and he's good at football, and he's self-aware. He's got all. I mean, he's a unique individual. He is a unicorn. People, I'm telling you, a guy that's good. An NFL starter caliber player at cornerback, which is one of the most swag kind of athletic positions on the field, much less in most sports. And to be that self-aware and humble, and he's a unique person. You guys just love him while you got him.
Chris, you and I both know this. When they're replacing an outside corner with a new starter this year, it ain't Jerry that's getting replaced.
I don't think it is. And then no shade at anybody that plays on the team.
Nope.
You know what I mean? No shade at all. All right, so we got the quarterback position. Let's talk about wide receiver. Amon-Ra, he's terrible. Chark, he's here for 30 years. I mean, you've got a situation now where we really don't need any wide receivers, so we can move on, right?
So this is the question that I probably have been asked more than anything other than Jalen Ramsey in the last week, and that's what's going on with DJ Chark. Again, I don't know. I do know from talking to people at other teams that there is interest in DJ Chark from other teams that have more cap room and more need and more opportunity for him to achieve greater statistics than he could ever conceive of in Detroit. And I think that means he's going to be going bye-bye.
Yeah. That's
my thought. I don't know that. My thought.
And it's one of the things where normally, I don't want to say normally, but with this team and the desire to stay here, for most people, I'd say they would take a somewhat of a discount to stay. DJ Chark took a discount this year in the market for wide receivers to play for Detroit. He needs to make his money in his mind, right? And I can't say that I'm in his mind, but I believe that if I'm him, I'm like, love it here. This is great. But the career clock is ticking. The body clock is ticking. I need to sign the big bucks and walk and take that and run with it. I just believe
the other thing to remember,
pressure's at.
The thing to remember with Chark is that he has void years on his contract. The Lions could have avoided dead money next year and in 2024 by signing him to a contract extension. Again, I don't know this, but I kind of know this. He wasn't really interested in signing. He wanted the open market. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to come back to Detroit, but he wanted to he wants the open market to set his rate, not the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
And I think that other teams are going to value DJ Chark a lot more than what a Lions team that is really freaking high on Jamison Williams will value DJ Chark.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect him to be back.
I want to be work. Okay, Minshew baby. Is there more Dan Campbell kind of guy than Minshew? No, I don't think there is, actually. I would love Gardner Minshew as a backup. I absolutely would.
He's fun. He's a little weird though. Like his teammates in both Philly and Jacksonville have kind of gotten tired of him at times.
Mm-hmm.
Like his act is never off. Like he just doesn't have that off switch. And sometimes, like, people like that. They're like always on. They're always relentless. It gets tiring. Will Ferrell is like that to me. Like I can't freaking stand Will Ferrell because he never stops. Like, dude, 30 seconds of you is great. 8 hours of you is way too freaking much. Like that's the kind of, like, he kind of wears on people like that. So I
get
don't
that.
know that he would be the greatest fit.
I
Good
get that.
quarterback though, and he'd be fun. My personal favorite, and I wrote about free agent quarterbacks that could go. My personal choice is Cooper Rush. I think what he did in Dallas last year was fine, and I think it also showed the way that he played in his last game, where he was awful against Philadelphia, would be comforting to Jared Goff, knowing that they're signing this guy and knowing that he's absolutely not coming for my job. Like, he's my number 2. And I think Jared Goff wants that. Jared Goff has sort of expressed that in the past. He's certainly expressed that with John Wolford in Los Angeles. You can ask John Wolford about that. He'll tell you. But,
he's going to be
didn't like being threatened.
He's going to be an expensive number 2, though, isn't he?
He's probably looking at $4 to $5 million a year.
Yeah, no crazy.
And again, so this is where you this is where you calibrate. Okay, if we're going to have a good backup, we either have to pay for a good veteran, and we'll pay Cooper Rush, Gardner Minshew $5 million a year, or you slide it the other way. Instead of drafting a guy in the 6th round, you're drafting a guy in the 1st or 2nd. Like, that's your sliding scale. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer to it, but it's going to happen. Like, it just is.
Yep.
I hope they don't go high on both.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Nobody wants to be that high. Well,
yeah.
No, nobody with a job. Nobody with a job, Mr. Holmes. All right, so let's move on. We've talked a little bit about the offense and free agency positional needs. Ahead of going to defense, I want to ask everybody that's here, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. We ask once per show. You're sitting here watching, enjoying the show, sitting back in the ice storm, just hit the like button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. And if you like what you say, or you want to take part in the chat, hit the sub button, subscribe button. We appreciate everyone who does that. It helps us out a great deal. I mean, we've been at this since 2015, and all that kind of support just means a lot. Helps us grow, helps us do what we do. And think about doing this every week for, what is it, 8 years, 9 years? We're going in almost going into our 9th year now. There's a commitment. So a little touch of the button from you would be much love. All right, let's get to the defensive side.
One other position we got hit on the offensive side.
Sure.
Offensive line.
Yeah, great
Evan
point.
Brown.
Great point.
Evan Brown is a free agent. He's your starting right guard. I would be surprised if he's back. And again, this is from talking to other teams that have needs. He's going to be a starting center somewhere else in the NFL this year.
They love Evan. They love Evan.
Yes, they do.
He's great. And
Hank Fraley specifically loves Evan.
He's
a great reclamation project.
Yeah. His growth
yes, because I saw him in Cleveland. He wasn't good there. Like, I got why the Browns cut him. Like, I did. Like, it wasn't like what Hank did and what. And I'm going to give some of the line mates, specifically Frank Ragnow, some credit for it too. What they did to help that guy get confidence in himself and over the mental aspects that he struggled with in both New York and Cleveland before he got to Detroit. I hope that means something to Evan Brown. I would love to have him back as your 6th lineman. But if you're going to get paid to get starter money somewhere else, go do it, man. Do not short yourself when you're in the situation that this is his shot to cash in.
Just like
Chark. Do it.
Just like it. And I applaud him. I'd love for them to be able to stay. They're both great parts of the team. They're much loved by their teammates. They do great stuff, but they're both at a point where it's time to line the pockets and make that big hit ahead of, the eventual kind of denouement of their career. And I think that's just the smart move as both a businessman and a player to do that. So, and
the other thing is he's a little bit older than you think he is too. I believe he's 27, 28. So he's not a spring chicken anymore. Yeah. And they also need. So this is an offseason need. It doesn't necessarily have to be free agency. They need another swing tackle. I think Matt Nelson, you know this, Chris, you and I know this. He had a lot of buzz going into last year, and that buzz is not buzzing anymore. Mm-hmm. And Dan Skipper is a free agent. Dan Skipper is the guy that they can sign. If training camp opens July 28th, they can sign him on July 27th, and he'll be there, and he'll be the best Dan Skipper he can be. But I kind of think that they want to do that because, remember, this is a team that runs the 6th tackle more than any other offense, and they're good at it. They ran it on 11% of their offensive plays, and they had a higher bump in run game using 6 linemen than any other team did. So it's a big role on the team.
Here's one to talk about, and BZ Ski's talking about this, and I think this is actually, I thought I had a crush on him, but maybe it was you as we saw him at Senior Bowl, Dalton Reisner, to replace. Was he your crush? Did you have a crush on Reisner?
Dalton from Kansas State, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like him.
You're not. He's good. You're going to pay for him though.
Yep.
You're paying a lot of money there.
Yep.
And you're already paying a lot of money. And remember, Jonah Jackson and Penei Sewell
and Decker
both need new money next offseason.
Yeah, Decker's coming up for money. I mean, everybody's looking for money.
You've got to go cheap somewhere. Right guard is probably the best place to go cheap. Right guard and tight end. And right now they're real cheap at tight end, and I don't think that's changing.
No. Oh man. Okay, so we'll keep rocking and rolling. So moving to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive tackle. Yeah. This is one of so I'm going to say this, and I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want to, somebody's going to be mad about it, but probably one of the least sexy positions on the field, defensive tackle, but so important. And we have an absolute need on the interior defensive front. Aleem's great. He needs the right kind of guy next to him to play off of him. What do we
They figured out this year that Aleem's a 3 and not a 1.
Yeah.
And once Aleem started playing the 3, the entire defense, this is one of the things that we've talked about a lot, is that it wasn't just like one thing that happened to the defense that made them go from being rock bottom to a top 10 unit. And make no mistake, they were a top 10 unit, even with the Carolina abomination in there. Over the last 8 weeks of the season, this was a top 10 defense. As Alex Ancelotti, we'll talk about in a second, said correctly, this was a team that they failed so many tests early that they couldn't ever get their grade up enough to reflect how smart they were at the end of the season. And I think people that are saying that yes, technically on paper they were 28th in points and 32nd in yards this past year. Oh, cut the year in half, give it a split. One of the demarcation lines there was Aleem playing more 3, Isaiah Buggs, who is a free agent, playing the 1 a lot more, and they also started getting something out of Benito Jones, believe it or not, which was kind of he's an ERFA, so he will be back at the league minimum. But he's a guy that you play 10 snaps a game, and you're good with that. Yeah. But they got to get, if Buggs doesn't come back, they need a 1 tech. More than they need a 3 tech. They need a 1 tech because they like Aleem at the 3 probably more than you think they ever could.
Yeah. And he's great. I mean, he's great at it. He I don't want to say perfect because it's overstated, but he's perfect for this team. You don't need an upgrade over Aleem at the 3. I think you're absolutely right about finding your guy at the 1. Wearing the Carmen Sandiego as Levi, he is going to be on an injury settlement if you ask me. We're not going to see him play in Detroit. Again, that's just my take. It's terrible.
You need to write that off. He won't play football again.
Yeah,
that's everything I've heard from multiple people. He is not going to play football again. So just gone.
Yeah,
injury settlement would make some sense if he wants to try to come through again. Quite frankly, there are people that are in the building that are kind of tired of it. There are questions about how hard he worked to rehab before he got hurt again. That's not necessarily something he's going to easily overcome with the procedures that he's had done.
Yeah. No, it's going to be tough. And I mean, I wish I could say that I have hope for him to play. And I do. I mean, I have hope. I just, my real brain, my heart says, please. My brain says it ain't going to happen. Just knowing what happened, with where he's at. So there you go. All right. So from defensive tackle, let's go to one of the more electric positions and talk about cornerback. Let's just start out. Who's the Lions' number 1 cornerback, Riz?
Jerry?
Thank you.
Maybe?
Yeah. It's between him and Jeff, right? And Jeff
Yeah.
at the end of the year, if you take the last 4 games of the year, it's 100% Jerry. I mean, Jerry's the guy.
Yeah,
right?
I would agree.
Mean, it's gonna be hard. And
honestly, the last like month of the season, Mike Hughes was probably their best cornerback. He's a free agent.
Yeah. We got beer worshiping cult Will Harris with his FTP.
Will wasn't bad. Like
no, he played the right role.
That's another guy.
He played the right role.
He did. he as your slot corner lining up over flexed out tight ends, Will Harris did a really good job. And he was part of the reason why, and this stat just blew my doors off this week when I found it. The Lions allowed the fewest completions, the second fewest yards to passes to running backs last season. They did not allow a single passing touchdown to a running back the entire year. Now, obviously, that's a minor thing. They allowed 23 completions on 34 pass attempts for 173 yards. I actually know that off the top of my head because I did the research on it. Washington allowed less yards and like 5 more completions, but they were really good against defending running backs in the passing game. Will Harris deserves credit for that. Will Harris and Alex Anzalone specifically deserve most of the credit for that. Did they struggle in other things? Hell yeah, they did, but they were really good at that. And that might be one of the reasons why they're not back, because they can point to that and say, hey, I did that.
Cornerback's an interesting spot, and what they do with this position in free agency is really, really going to inform, very likely, what they do in the draft this year. And I think free agency this year, this is probably the last, I don't want to say the last year, but the last year where you can draw a straight line to where they're putting people in free agency to what they're doing in the draft. You know what I'm saying when I say that, Riz?
Yes.
They're
I do.
Filling spots, right? with players. I don't know that they're going to be doing that after this year based on historical drafts from Holmes.
Right. They are not afraid to. It's not building through the draft, but it is like it's augmenting what you've got, and that's where your primary impact acquisitions are going to come from, more than the draft in the short term, are from free agency. We will see how much they value cornerback, because remember, Will Harris is a free agent. Jeff Okudah is not going to get his 5th-year option picked up. I would speculate on that. So this is probably his last year. Will Harris is a free agent.
Again, talks to who's your number one cornerback. Right. I mean, if they don't pick up that
option. Ifeatu Melifonwu probably won't make the team next year based on the first 2 years of his career. He does nothing at an NFL level, including work. That's going to be a big problem for him.
That's a big word too for the Lions. Just so you know.
Did I say that out loud?
Work is a word.
He's not exactly impressed in that avenue. Let's put it that way. So they are in need of a lot of cornerbacks. And by the way, Jerry is going to need more money soon too. He's an ERFA this year, right? Mm-hmm. So he is going to get the league minimum again. They can flip him some signing bonus money, and I suspect they will. Mm-hmm. And he did get extra money for playing time, not this year, but as a rookie. Mm-hmm. They have that rookie, like you exceed your pay threshold by X amount of performance. I forget what they call it, and it does get tax capped. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's going to need money too. And the way that Jerry is playing right now, he is going to make a hell of a lot more than he's making now.
The people that forget he's a second-year corner coming off of that injury of an ACL. I mean, into this year, I think people are missing out with what they're going to see from him, and even the growth we're going to see from him year over year. Year 3 for a cornerback is generally the year where you know what you've got. Year 1 and 2, he was pretty darn good, folks. I'm just telling you. I mean, you can.
Year 3 is when we started to see Jeff Okudah finally start to click, and then he got hurt again. And now you've got. So my school of thought. And this is just my thought. They're going to hope that Jeff Okudah can start somewhere. Mm-hmm. It will not be given to him. Yep, and they 100%. Will be looking actively to upgrade the position, both outside and inside.
You're going to find
it wouldn't surprise me if Mike Hughes comes back. They like him, and I think he liked it in Detroit. I don't know that. I would make an effort to re-sign him, and I would hope that he would make an effort to re-sign.
You're going to find that the challenge they put on Okudah last year by putting him third, fighting for the second spot as cornerback, wasn't just Hollywood trying to inspire him as much as the reality of what they're facing. And I love Jeff Okudah. Yeah. I think he's a great guy. And you know, he's done a lot of good things for other players on the team as well. He's you know, again, he's one of these things where, he's such a great guy. I wish, you know, we could see more, but we'll see. It is a businessman's league, so we'll deal with it. I want to move on to the next position. It's one of the most electric positions on the field, one that Riz is every year fighting for. That's off-ball linebacker. He's got a number 6 overall pick that he wants to grab. Off-ball linebacker twice in the first round. He wants 2 of them because he wants depth at off-ball. So no, I actually
give me all the linebackers. Give them all to me. They do need an off-ball linebacker, and they need their best line. They need to acquire their number 1 linebacker this offseason in one form or another. Nothing against Rodrigo. If Rodrigo is your number 1, your linebackers probably aren't very good, because Rodrigo is very, very good at the things that he does well. Those things are limited. And I think we saw that. And I think opposing offenses saw it and took some advantage of it. He doesn't go downfield very well. He doesn't turn and run well. He doesn't always find the best path to the ball when he's starting further off the ball. They need a guy who can turn, run, and go any direction, 360 degrees, fast, and hopefully make a play when he gets there.
Yep.
I hope they draft it. I don't want to pay a lot of money in free agency for that. There are some good free agent linebackers out there. Alex Anzalone being one of them. Alex Anzalone is coming off the best season of his career. He's the first year, by the way, where he's not been hurt at all.
Mm-hmm.
He's 28, 27, 28. This is his shot to cash in. He knows it. His agent knows it. The Lions know it. Would they love to have Alex Anzalone back? Yes. Would I like Alex Anzalone back? Yes, I would. I would. I think he played very well down the stretch for the most part. I think he's going to get more money elsewhere, and I think the Lions won't be terribly saddened to replace him with a guy like Dion Henley or any number of linebackers in the middle rounds of the draft.
Somebody had him in a mock draft I saw. Some Rise Doan guy. He had Dion Henley there.
Had him in the second. I talked to Mike Renner from PFF today.
He became one of my favorite writers when I saw that.
Mike Renner from PFF has him as his number 1 linebacker. I do as well.
Yeah.
So there is some buzz for Dion. I think he's going to go in the Minnesota pick in the second round range to the Lions pick round in the third range. So if they want him, they'll probably get one shot at him. We'll see if they like him. There's a lot of good linebackers on there. Parenthetically, I will add, I did a player profile of Noah Sewell today at Lions Wire, and I'll just say, read it, please.
I'll be skipping that one. Only because I know you is. I never advocate someone skipping it, but I think a lot of people should read it because I think it'll help them.
I think they should.
All right, let's
they should.
Got to say hi to Micro Mike, who's here. How you doing, brother? But we also have to move on to the last position we want to cover here for free agency positional needs, and that would be safety.
Oh, God, I thought you were going to say kicker, because they do technically need a kicker too.
Yeah. Let's talk about safety. But what's going on? Can't we just re-sign Deshaun and Tracy Walker's coming back, and we got Kirby? We're covered. We're good. What could be good? What could be possibly going wrong?
Sounds good to me. I like that. I'd like another body in there though. CJ Moore is also a free agent. He left. He came back. I like CJ Moore. Good number 4 guy. Great special teamer. Your number 4 safety is on the team as much for special teams as he is for playing safety. Wouldn't be the worst. I wouldn't be upset if they ran it back, but I would like to see them add another piece. And a guy like, you can get a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson as a free agent. Did I say that right? Gardner-Johnson? Whatever. He'd be good. He'd be great. There are some other safeties that are out there that will come available. One of them, who might be a cap cut in Cleveland, is John Johnson III, a guy that Brad Holmes loved in the Rams draft once upon a time. And it hasn't gone well for him away from that Rams style.
Mm-hmm.
He's had 2 years in Cleveland that have not been worth their money, quite frankly. He needs a fresh start somewhere else. That's an interesting name to watch, because I will tell you, and I know this from that draft, Brad Holmes was a table pounder for John Johnson III when the Rams got him.
There you go.
Just put that in the back of your mind and file it away somewhere. I don't know that they're looking at it. But just file that away somewhere. And that wouldn't surprise me either if they loaded up at safety, because Aaron Glenn's defense needs safeties, plural, as the playmakers, more than they need linebackers, singular, as a playmaker.
I thought you were going to say more than Mars needs women. And I was really going to go, I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why that came up, but God, I was all in on that.
I don't know.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay. All right, here we go. Anything else at safety that you can think of right now?
Not really. I mean, I don't think they're like depth guys, like Brady Breeze. Who the hell else do they have? Juju Hughes. I don't even think he's here anymore. I don't think those guys are long for Detroit, if they're still even in Detroit. I don't even know. That's kind of sad.
Hopefully they're renting.
We're 2 hours in here, man. My brain's getting tired.
Hopefully they're renting. All right. So, hey, make sure you subscribe and like the channel, please. We appreciate that when you do that, and that helps us out a great deal. 300 people, over 300 people here, and 121 likes. It's 1 out of 3 of you have done that.
Thank you.
That
reminds me. I didn't like it. I gotta like it.
Jamel Dean, do you want to talk about that really quick before we go any further, Riz?
I love Jamel Dean. I would love to have him in Detroit. Cornerback from the Buccaneers would be the #1 alpha dog corner in Detroit. He is fast. I believe he ran a 4.32 at the combine, and it shows on the field. He is the fastest player in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
He is a free agent that they probably can't afford to bring back. So, yes, if you're looking to make a splash, he would be a good one. James Bradbury's a little older, a little bit more seasoned. He would certainly be a quality one. There are a ton of mid-tier guys who can be your 1/2 in the way that Jerry is right now as your 1/2.
Yep.
There's a lot of those guys, and we will be talking a lot about those between us and Scott and other facilities that are out there.
Dean is the #1. Of course, we'd rather have Dean, but he's, you're looking at what, $17 million a year? I mean, you're looking at a lot of money for a guy like that. You could probably get like Sutton for 8.5. You could get Bradbury for like 12, right?
Sutton as your slot is very attractive to me. I will give you another name that he's got some warts, but William Jackson, when the Steelers cut him, and they will cut him, is a reclamation project. He has played in the wrong defense since he left Cincinnati. He is a bump and run, physical press man outside corner that they asked to play in off man and zone in Washington, and he sucked.
Yeah.
And he went to Pittsburgh. They traded for him, and he got hurt in the first training camp or the first day of practice there. That's a veteran reclamation project. Former first-round pick. I think he's 31 as the season starts next year. That you can rent for a year for $4 or $5 million. In the way that they got a year that way out of Chris Houston once upon a time, and in the way that they got a year out of Rasheed Mathis once upon a time. Those 1-year rental things work to buy you a time as a bandage, with the knowledge that you've drafted somebody to learn under him and eventually take over that role. Yep. And I could absolutely see the Lions going that route too.
Yeah, there you go.
Or I should say, in addition to signing another cornerback in free agent, I think their biggest expense in free agency this year will be a cornerback or two.
Ooh, there you go.
And that doesn't rule them out from taking a first-round cornerback in the draft either.
Yeah, no, I'm all. I've said it, and I'll say it again. I'm all in with Witherspoon. Right now, if you told me I had to pick at 6 with no one else off the board, not no one off, but with the expected board run, I'm in on Witherspoon, man. That's my guy today. So we'll see. But things change.
He's really good. He's really good.
Yeah. I mean, that whole secondary right there is really good. And that's one of the things you ask is, did they help him look good? No, man. 1 yard all season in press. That's not the rest of the secondary helping you look good, man. That is you being damn good at what you do. I love that.
Sidney Brown in the third, though, as a safety, not a bad option either.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, yeah, Gonzalez. Don't forget, you're going to see some great videos coming up from Scott. We've got Carter coming up. We've got Witherspoon this Friday. We've got a bunch of Gonzalez coming up. We've got a lot of players coming up that he's going to cover. Good videos, quick hitters, 10 minutes or less.
Can I tease his Gonzalez video?
Sure.
I asked Scott was my first guest on the Huge Show on Monday, and I asked him about Christian Gonzalez, and we both came to the agreement that he's got all the physical tools in the world, but would he ever wear a grit hat? Probably not.
Yeah.
Might not be the right personality fit for Detroit.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they won't like him. Doesn't mean that he's not a great corner. He might not be the best Lions, Dan Campbell Lion.
No, that's fair. Witherspoon, 100% a Dan Campbell Lion.
100%.
125%. Because that's how a Dan Campbell Lion has to be. It ends at 100 for everybody.
Yep.
But if you're 125, then you're really a Dan Campbell Lion. So there you go. All right, don't forget about Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com, the place to do all your Amazon shopping. You go to Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. That zips you right to the Amazon site, but it throws a cookie in your browser, lets them know that we sent you, and they give us a little kickback. Doesn't cost you anything more, but it helps the show do what we do, helps fund the show, and it helps us out by doing something you were going to do anyway. It's the same thing when you want your Lions gear, and that's coming up here. The draft is here. Everything's going on. Go to fanatics.detroitlionspodcast.com. The official, real, licensed, high-quality merchandise is Fanatics. They own the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, the MLB, all the college stuff. They have the officially licensed stuff. They've taken over the merchandise world. Go to fanatics.detroitlionspodcast.com before you buy anything from any of those folks, and you'll get hooked up and taken care of, and so will we, because it was something you were going to do anyway. All right, this is week 1 of free agency. It's not bad, man. That's not bad. We covered a good take. It's a 2-hour show we got here. We got 2 more weeks of free agency. Free agency is going to hit, and then we're going to cover all the action of free agency, and then we're really driving for the draft. You guys, this is a big run all the way through April. Breaking new news, new information coming all the time. We're going to break down players. We're going to give you insight. We're going to listen to what you say. We'll bring your stuff in from the chat as well. So make sure you subscribe so you can get into the chat. And that's the ticket in for that. And we'll keep going doing the things that we do. But don't miss the show. A lot of great stuff coming up. A lot of fun stuff.
I might try to do a couple of the shorts from live from Indianapolis.
Ooh, we'd love it when you're in your shorts. Otherwise, you're just pants free, right? All right, let's really get into what we got going on. I got to talk about the Patreon. Everyone who's in the Patreon is awesome. It's weird, but that just works that way. Patreon is awesome. We've got the greatest community in the Slack chat. I'm not even kidding. I mean, a lot of people have turned off in some of the places where we came from. A lot of the other chat, the communities that are out there. There's no community like this one. Get access.
That's true.
Either be a member on YouTube, join the channel, or you go to patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. Get in there, you get access to the Slack chat. As little as $5 a month from Patreon. If you do 5 or more a month, you get into the Slack, and you won't regret it, especially for the off-season chat. It is nonstop talk. I wound some people up with my talk that I shared earlier in the show about percentage of salary cap as a way to take away a lot of the rhetoric about what's your number. Get your number, lock in on your number, what the percentage is the right percentage, and then we could talk about like how much you spend. The other numbers are they change because the salary cap changes, and I think that's a better way to look at it. But a lot of great talk there, a lot of great disagreement, agreement. The whole thing. It's just a good community, and there's really
Chris. We disagreed, and I still love you, man.
I know, isn't that weird? No hatred.
Weird how that works.
Yeah. Make sure to follow us on Twitter as you see right there, @Jeff Risden under his name. It's right there, easy to look at and get. Also @DET Lions Podcast. DET Lions Podcast. We're both pants free all the time, and that's how to get closest to us. Being pants free, because who wouldn't want to rub up against us, almost Mika Parsons style. Also give us a call via Skype at Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us in the Lions
my crotch
line.
Up that high. Pull out of my chair.
Call us in the Lions line at 248-782-8384. 248-RUB-YOU-FUG. Get in there, leave a message, we'll get you on the air. Also, go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast. What happens when you subscribe to the podcast, Riz?
I get to come into your ear holes automatically.
Yeah. Both of them. Who wouldn't want that? Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, baby, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Thank you all for listening. Love you. Appreciate the feedback on the new thing, and we'll keep getting better.